let me bring your attention to a brother who is a TV, film, theater actor, director, has a remarkable background, and also was part of one of my most favorite shows of all time, True Blood. It was so damn addictive. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregg Daniel. Greg, what up, homie?
My pleasure. I'm just laughing because you said True Blood, and it was such a gas to be on that show. I didn't get to be a vampire though. I wanted to be a vampire, but they just made me a minister. So what can I say? It was a fun show. I always
wondered. I said, man, what would happen if we have Reverend Vampire? And you know what I thought about? Remember the Eddie Murphy movie where he played a vampire and then had his preaching moment? I said that would be perfect to mimic.
That would be excellent. That would be excellent. Great imagination there. Great imagination, Dr. Richey.
Man, I appreciate you so much being on the show today. Let's talk about, you have some projects coming up, but let's talk about cancel culture, something that has been part of the narrative now for a while. And I think both sides of the political coin blame each other for engaging in too much cancel culture. Tell us your point of view as it relates to cancel culture.
I don't like cancel because somehow cancel is negative. There's something negative that, in some cases, and I realize it's difficult on both sides. We're sort of reassessing or reconciling these images that we are used to, or these truths we hold to be sacred, and they're not. I mean, there is a thing about trying to reconcile now. It seems to come on as cancel culture. We're going to cancel it, like Lin Miranda's movie. Well, there are not enough dark-skinned people, which there aren't, but it's going to be awkward. Cancel culture is, but it's many times it brings itself to a recognition of things that have stayed for a long time, And now that we're reconceiving that, it's hard to give up power. It's hard to give up perceptions. It's hard to be out there saying, okay, I've been thinking this way, but the right way is just, it's hard because people feel something is taking away from them. But I think it's just making us more aware, more sensitized, more sensitive to people. I don't call it cancel culture. It may sometimes go too far to the left. I'll agree. Okay, it feels like, wow, really? But look how much good it has done in terms of bringing to truths people who have been underserved and have been left out of haven't had a seat at the table, a piece of the pie. I think, all in all, when the smoke clears, it's good for our society. I do feel it's good for our society.
I look at people who have been quote unquote canceled, right? And I say, there are individuals who I believe deserve harsh criticism, and then there are others who deserve a lesson.
I agree.
Because I think when you engage, let's take racism for example. There are individuals, I believe racism exists on the spectrum. I believe there are individuals that no matter what you do, they will never be helped. They will never change their mind, and they will always be what's known as hyper-aggressive racist. And then there are others that have implicit racism or the internal racism that they can't even recognize, but given opportunity, they may have an opportunity to transform. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. In fact, there's an unconscious bias. There are those who think who call themselves liberal and will side on the environment and the black lives. But however, there's an unconscious bias. There's some things that have been coded to us since we were kids in our society, in our community, or things that are coded. So you may not even, you think you might be liberal, but you may not be. You may not be because it's been comfortable. So yeah, there are unconscious biases that we have, and when you're called on it naturally, you get defensive. You want to put up that shield on that wall saying, no, I'm not that. But take a moment, just take a moment and look at the entirety of it. And yeah, there might be some things there that just like a lot of theaters now, I work in theater a lot of theaters are reconceiving. What is our season going to be like now? Do we have to have 5 white playwrights? Who is on our board of directors now? How do we really get education, diversity, and inclusion? So yeah, I think again, yeah, it's raising consciousness in many ways, and there are those who are soft, unconscious bias, but they need to be confronted about it as well. If any change is going to happen, Doctor.
Yeah, very well said. I want to get to your new project, but before I get to that, let me ask you about your longevity in the industry. You've seen everything. You've seen trending things. You've seen how Hollywood has changed its mind, so to speak, as it relates to black actors and actresses. Where are we at right now as it relates to inclusiveness of black and brown media personalities and actors and actresses in your profession?
Well, I'm going to go online. I'm going to go on book and say I think this is the most exciting time that I've lived through. I do think so. I see people in positions now in my work that I've never seen before. And when I say people, I mean BIPOC, men, women, LGBTQ. I see people in decision-making positions as well that I've never seen before. Yes, it's awkward, it's slow. However, boards are becoming conscious now. They don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So now there are boards that are saying, how can we be more inclusive in our board? I think it's an amazing, exciting time. I've seen more women directors. I've seen more women filmmakers. It's an exciting time because more are coming through. And I think the events of 2020 with the murder of George Floyd and the pandemic we had has really shed a light on things in ways we never thought possible.
Man, I say something that's really politically incorrect, but people know what I mean when I say it. I say every board, I don't care how many white people you have on your board, you need a Tyrone in the boardroom.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean Tyrone in the sense it has to be a black male. I mean, you need diversity in that boardroom because that voice of diversity can stop your company from making a mistake like Gucci.
Absolutely. How are you ever going to become sensitized to issues you have no idea of? You've never had to consider because of your privilege, because of your power. You've never had to consider that. You do need a Tyrone to say, whoa. See, that might be, I see what you intend. I see what your intention is, but what you're not being sensitive to is how that might alienate black women or black mothers or black, you don't get that. You have to have that voice, else you're flying blind. You're flying blind. So yeah, you do need that. In the decision-making positions, you have to have more BIPOC individuals. It's the only way.
Let's talk about your project, 7th and Union. To my understanding, this was shot during the height of lockdown, during the pandemic. So let's talk about the project and talk about how logistically you pulled that off.
Well, it wasn't easy. We were one of the first films that was greenlit to actually shoot during the pandemic. So we had a lot of protocols and procedures, everyone trying to be safe as possible. It was a little, when it comes to art, you risk a little bit, but we weren't risking. We had a COVID officer all the time with us. Beautiful story about a Mexican boxer, a black guy, myself, generations apart, but somehow in each other they can find the strength to go on, to move on in their lives. Two totally different races, two totally different generations. Beautiful movie. It's a boxing movie, but boxing is only the backdrop to what I think is a very unique friendship between a brown brother and a African-American brother.
I've heard this film has a whole lot of heart, brother. Can you attest to that?
It does have a lot of heart. It does. Well, just seeing two leads up there who are not Caucasian, just having two leads, two men relying on each other that's not Caucasian, just reframing that rather than showing them as divisive with each other, showing how they actually find hope in each other. I think that's a beautiful story to tell.
How can we watch it, brother?
It's going to be released. It's already played the Latino Los Angeles International Film Festival, and we expect it to be released next year. I'm not sure exactly when, but look out for 7th and Union. It's a beautiful and fun film.
Love it, man. How can people follow you, my friend, social media and elsewhere?
You can find me at Instagram at official Gregg Daniel. I gotta say GREGG. Don't leave out them G's, y'all. Official Gregg Daniel. Twitter at real Gregg Daniel, and Facebook actor Gregg Daniel. And I love to read things and hear from people. Love to.
Man, it's a pleasure, man. Very proud of your success. Thankful for the intellect you bring to the industry and the thoughtfulness you have about inclusion. Thank you for joining us.
I'm humbled by that. Thank you, Dr. Richey. It's a pleasure to be on. Thank you so much, sir.